Project Overview. This video will give you the expectations for your team project. Let's take a look. If we go into our week 1 company choice, we see that it gives you some basic instructions. And there's also a tab that opens up and shows you the details of the project. And that's here in this blue. So that link, MGT 7300 Team Project, has the detailed instructions for your project. For week 1, you are going to wait until at least Wednesday of that week to allow your instructor time to assign teams once they are in there to make sure that everyone that's in the course is added to a team. That should be done by Wednesday. After Wednesday, you should log in and take a look at your team. As a team, you will choose a U.S. publicly traded retail company. Now what that means, it means that it's a company that's going to sell a product. They can't provide a service. The reason I say a U.S. company is because U.S. companies are subject to the Securities Exchange Commission, so their annual reports, which you're going to need, are required to be published. So you'll be able to find all the information you need. Once you choose a company, one team member is going to submit the name of the company and a link to that annual report. Now before you do your official submission, you should look in the team discussion area and make sure that everyone agrees to this company. Make sure that you have established a clear line of communication, and then you will be able to submit for a final submission. Only one member needs to submit. It will look at it as a team submission. Make sure that you have the full annual report. Your instructor will review this to approve your company choice. Your choice should be submitted by the end of week 1, and your instructor will work diligently to make sure that you get the approval and can get started on your project for week 2. Again, for all team assignments, only one member needs to submit them. There is one assignment at the end that each member will do individually, and we'll go over that in just a minute. So one of the things I wanted to show you is that we have a clear group communication method in Canvas, and this is how you should be communicating with each other. This is for a few reasons. First, it allows me to see that there is true group communication. Second, it protects each student because it allows you to see who communicated when, what they said they were going to do, when they said they were going to do it by, and if they actually did that. So it allows you to share files, it allows you to have communication. And one thing we need to remember is, while I know technology is great, and you have the method that you guys can do, the WhatsApp applications, you can do Zoom, you can do lots of types of online meetings. However, we need to remember that people signed up for an online course because they have a busy schedule or sometimes a different schedule. So we can't expect everyone in our team to be available at the same time. We have to remember online is the flexible time because it allows everyone to respond within a timely manner, but on their own time. That's why the group communication is going to be important. So there's 2 ways you can access the group communication. First, you can go over here to the left where it says people. You can click in there. Or over here to your left. Now I don't have it because instructors don't, but you'll see a groups module, and that will allow you to communicate as well. So if we click into the people, you're going to see a list of the students, and then you're going to see the groups that were created. I'm going to go into this one group here because it doesn't have any students to be able to show you what their homepage looks like as a group. So you can click visit the group homepage. You can only click into your own group. It's not going to let everyone into every group. You can only click into your own group. Once you click into there, this is what it looks like. So everyone has a homepage. You can do announcements to each other. You may see announcements from your instructor from time to time. It has a pages section, which allows you to create pages and share that by clicking add page. It allows you to see the people that are in your group. It allows you to have this discussion is going to allow you to communicate in the group area. And again, this is for your protection as well as for your instructor to be able to see that you are communicating well in your group. The other option you have is it has a files area where you can share files. So as you're working on your different parts of the project, you can submit them and upload them so that everyone in your group can see the entire project. And then lastly, there's a collaborations tab. And this one's going to allow you to be able to start a new collaboration. And that depends on the group itself. So most importantly, you want to be able to share files and have that discussion. So that's what I want to see. I want to see that you guys are communicating very well. So let's now take a look at the actual project. So here we have the instructions for the project. So it tells you here that the purpose of the financial statement analysis project is to help students become familiar with financial reports of publicly traded companies. We want you to be able to apply the concepts you learned in our class to a real-world situation and familiarize yourself with researching financial information. At the completion, you should be able to use financial information to assess profitability and solvency of publicly traded companies. There are 5 parts to the project. Now, don't let that overwhelm you because a lot of it is really simple. The first part is that teams are going to be assigned and selecting a company. So week 1, you are going to be assigned to teams. There will be 3 to 4 people on each team, most likely 4 unless there's an odd amount of students in the class. And this is going to be done, and then you're going to be choosing your company project. Then week 2, you're going to create a plan of who is going to do what for each section. So you're going to look at sections 3 and 4, create a plan of who is going to do each part. So for week 2, it tells you to develop and submit a project completion plan. Only one member has to submit this, but you should all be working on it together. So you're going to develop a project plan for completing parts 3 and 4 of the annual report. Only one team member will need to submit your plan. You should use the group discussion to decide who is doing each part. Remember, every student is new to finance. There's likely not any experts in finance taking this course. So even if you're not comfortable with the subject, it's okay. You're going to learn how to do it before you're required to do it. So the project plan should include planned completion dates for the different subsections of the report and who is responsible for it. So you want to set target dates of who is doing it and when they plan to have it completed. Be realistic, but also be fair to your other group members. When you're looking at sections 3 and 4, just because part A might look like something you want to do, it doesn't mean that every section should be assigned as a whole. You need to really analyze what is going to be included because some parts have more time-consuming parts that have to be done than others. It is advisable that you also designate 1 or 2 members of the group that are going to take responsibility for the final editing of the completed project. You need to set deadlines ahead of time to allow that time to be reviewed, edited, and ensure that it's following APA requirements. Make sure you take a look at the rubric that is provided. Teams should also include a statement about expectations for the team members regarding the timely completion of assignments, how to notify each other about missed meetings or deadlines, how will you communicate if someone doesn't complete something. Make a plan. Things happen, but you need to know how to communicate if it does. And then in week 7, you guys are going to be evaluating this plan. So this plan is important because you're going to evaluate each other on what you plan to do and how well you comply with the plan. And then you're also going to note what you would have done differently. All right, so part 3. This is where you're going to start analyzing the project. And this isn't due until week 6. But remember, you've created a plan in week 2. So weeks 3, 4, and 5, you should be working diligently to get your parts done. Once you have a section done, feel free to upload it to your group area so that your group members can see that you are working on it. You don't have to complete everything that you've been assigned and then upload it. Upload it in sections so that they can see, hey, I am working on this. That sometimes is a confidence booster for other group members. All right, so this section is going to require that students use their annual reports and knowledge from our class to answer several questions. Some of the questions might not apply to your company, and if you're unsure, just ask me. I'm happy to answer to help you find it and let you know if it's something that's not applicable. It is possible. Answers should be provided in a written paragraph paper following APA format. Now here it does say 6th edition. There is a 7th edition out and you can use either one. Just make sure you make a note somewhere which edition you're using so that all members use the same thing. Remember, when you're answering these questions, yes or no is not an acceptable answer. You should be giving a quality response. You must also remember to cite your sources. APA requires that you cite where your information is coming from. We cannot plagiarize. Remember, this is a master's level course. You should be easily able to cite information. Most information you're going to have is going to come from your annual report. You should not be cutting and pasting without giving attribution, so citing where it's coming from. If you need to have brief quotes, make sure that you cite them in quotation marks and reference them. And I provided an example here. If you're doing General Motors, you're going to note that it's the 2017 annual report, page whatever. And that's important to make sure that you do, so that if you have something that maybe your instructor is reviewing and they're not sure, they know where to look to see where you got that information. Makes it easy for everyone. Alright, so part 1 in section 3, you're going to provide a brief summary of the company, including a description of the primary business operations. Number 2, you're going to scan the report to identify the major sections that are listed here and prepare a table of contents of what page numbers these items can be found on. This is to help you have a quick reference when you need to know where to find those information. Number 3, you're going to read the letter to the shareholders. You're going to tell who it's from, what the company plans for the upcoming year, what the tone of the letter is, and if it addresses any problems from the past year. Remember, these are quality responses we're looking for. Number 4, what are the titles of the company's individual financial statements? And what is their fiscal year end? How many years does it include in their financial statements? Make sure you're detailing that information. Number 5, we also want to make sure that you are looking at trend in revenue and sources of revenue. And they give you some examples here, but what I want to point out is that you're going to do 3 different parts here. A, you're going to go to the income statement and note what the trend in revenue is over a 3-year time period. Are their sales declining? Are they growing? And prepare a brief chart or a table to show those trends. Part B, what are the major sources? Where is that revenue coming from? And then identify each of the revenue's major products or segments. On a percentage basis, how much does each product or product line contribute to their total revenue? And prepare a chart or table showing that. Part C, you're going to comment on whether the sources of the revenue changed considerably over that period of time. So did they go up or down from one year to another? And then in part 6, you're going to be looking at corporate governance. Who are the external auditors from your company? What type of audit opinion do they issue? And that is referring you back to the video from week 2. Part B is number 6. How many members are on your company's board of directors and how many members of the board work for the company? Number 7. Based on your reading of the annual report and viewing the corporate website, what are some of the corporate social responsibility issues that the company has chosen to highlight, and why do you think they chose those? So that is part 3. Again, you should divide it up evenly among members. Part 4 goes into the financial ratios. Again, you're going to be doing analysis of the financial statement. This is worth a significant portion of your overall grade. Make sure that you show your computations and that you have explanations of the trends and they are substantive explanations. You will need to review the MD&A to get explanations for a lot of those changes, and that's in the annual report. So you're going to be preparing a horizontal analysis where you're telling the dollar change and the percent change on the income statement for the most recent year compared to the previous year. Again, see the videos in week 2. Comment on the major changes from year to year. Then in number 13, in the next one, sorry, these are numbered incorrectly on this sheet. It will be fixed on yours. Compute the ratios from the ratio list, and you're going to compute it for 2 years. Then you're going to comment on the trends from those ratios. Look at the management discussion and analysis and tell if management adequately explains all of those. And then finally, you're going to give your overall conclusion, and this should have input from all members. And then part 5 is going to be your peer evaluation, where each member will submit an evaluation telling what they thought of each member's project or participation in the project. Alright, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and remember to use the group communication tabs that are provided in Canvas.